Welcome to the podcast.
Welcome to the podcast.
Good job.
Awesome.
Hey guys, we are so excited today because Natalie Grant is in our living room, kitchen.
Yay!
And we've already been talking for half an hour. Lots of good stuff. We'll fill you in. So jumping right in. So you were my first coffee in Nashville.
Yes,
Do you
I didn't remember
remember
that I
that?
was the first, but I felt like I was one of the first. I feel like
were
your
one of the
mom was
first.
there too.
That's how new it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember that.
We went
That's
to
awesome.
Fido.
I remember.
Yes.
We brought your mom everywhere.
Yeah, I was like, could you just come along? Could you move
Yeah,
here?
like
Yeah.
a security blanket. I get it. I get
Totally.
it.
Yeah, your family, lots is in Seattle.
Yep.
Yeah.
Far away, and you feel like when you first move, you're
Yeah.
excited and terrified.
Yeah.
So I remember that.
I wanted to look cool, so I put on my black hat, and I was like, okay, I can do this. And then I just blabbed my face off.
No.
But you did too, and I was like, oh, it was so great. I felt like I
you
knew
looked cool, so it worked. Because I
Okay.
remember going, oh, that girl is cool. And the Canada, that's what I remember
The
was
Canada.
the Canadian
You both married
connection.
Canadians.
Yes.
We both, oh man.
Yes, both
that's
married
so
Canadians.
true.
I was
Sweet
like,
Bernie.
wow, they're from Canada. So.
Love you, Bernie.
Bernie, my dad's
He's a good
name.
one.
He's Canadian. That's
Yes.
actually so true. There was probably some built-in camaraderie.
Totally.
Right off the top.
Totally.
No, but that meant, in all seriousness, besides trying to look cool and stuff, I just thought you were so cool, but then you went beyond that to like so amazing that you take
Aw.
that time for me.
Wow.
That really,
Sweet.
that was kind of like pivotal to just sit down with another woman and be like, hey, so we've failed a lot. We've tried a lot of stuff. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not 22. Like,
Yeah.
just being able to talk to you and you go, well, hey, like, me too. Here's some
Yep.
things, it's rare. Like, I don't feel like people do that a lot.
Wow.
So,
It was a privilege to get to do, and you guys are sweethearts. And since then, now you've toured with me. And
I know.
Focus on
That
the
was
road.
pre-babies
That was so
for
fun.
you guys.
I don't even know if we were thinking. You probably got us thinking because yours are so cute.
They were on the road.
I think
Yeah.
I think you and Franny were our inspirations for that. We can do this.
We can
take
do it.
them with
Yeah.
us because
Yes.
you brought Sadie with you. for
That's
a while.
right.
Well, and
That's
Sadie dressed up in all the merch every night and looked so cute.
Ah, she loves you guys.
Man.
I remember the one church. I don't remember. It might have been Louisiana, but
Yeah.
that you were fine. She was set up in like the playroom at the church.
Yes.
And you were in there playing with her.
Yeah.
It's like, this is amazing. Like, the show starts in an hour.
This
And
could
she's
work.
hanging out with Sadie and like
Just chilling.
bouncing
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah,
No.
you know,
So
it's
great.
really important. It's been important to me from the beginning. So the twins are about to be 12 years old, but
Crazy.
they started touring when they were 7 weeks old.
Yes.
And I just remember, it's funny because people say, but there was 2 of them, but it's all I knew, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you can't say that when you first have one child. People say, oh my gosh, it must have been so easy having one after that. I'm like, well, no, because I didn't give the other 2 back. So,
Right,
no,
yeah.
I had 2 kids. But also, it wasn't like I didn't have one first and then was like, oh my gosh, now it's going to be times 2. You only know what you know. Like, you only know your
Yes.
experience. And that was just my experience. And yeah, it was like baptism by fire. But I think that I would have quit doing what I do if I didn't take them with me.
Yeah.
Because it would have been too much of I would have been torn all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now when I don't always take them, it's like going on the road is straight up vacation.
Yeah.
I sleep in. Like I sleep way in, like 11.
Okay.
noon.
Okay. You're always a
You
few
know?
steps ahead of me, and I'm imagining that.
Yeah, it's not always so terrible to not have them on every date.
Yeah.
We're
That
learning that slowly. Like if we do like cross country, like fly
Yeah.
to California and
Yeah.
then stay home for 2 nights, everyone's like, "Oh, it's so far away." It's like, yeah, it's great.
Yes, it's actually
Yeah.
okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna survive, and you're gonna survive. And I mean, I do have like a built-in limit where I'm like, I can't be gone for them longer than this, and that's
Yeah.
usually 4 days, like a 4-day run.
Yeah.
And if I do that, it's like once a month, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
to be apart from them, and I kind of have to. So we rarely are ever gone longer than that, because I don't do well. They don't do well. And Bernie, doesn't travel with me, but he travels as well. So
Right.
he's not always home. So that we just kind of, every family's different, but you just kind of have to know the grace that's on your family for
Yeah.
whatever works for you guys, and then, do it and
Yeah.
not let other people speak into it too much. Because when they do, then you're like, wait,
Yeah.
there's all these other opinions, and that's because that's what works for their family, but it might not be what works for mine.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you always want like the kids with the husband on the road? Like, was this something you saw for your life? Was like, I'm gonna have babies and bring them along? And
Yeah, no. Well, because I didn't really see what I do for my life. I wasn't one of those people that had this dream of being a recording artist and traveling around. I didn't, actually. I always could sing. I grew up in Seattle, which is not exactly the hotbed of like Christian anything. It's a very artistic city.
Yeah.
And an incredible artistic community, but it wasn't like this hotbed of Christian anything.
Sure.
I think they say it's the least church city in the nation. Like only 1% of the population claim to go to church of any kind. So I was raised in the church, which was really unusual. But my church had a huge emphasis on music and youth music. So I was like putting set lists together and worship set lists together when I was like 11 and 12, you know?
Yeah.
So that was my sphere of reference, and I loved that. I was like, I'm going to serve the local church. I actually went to college and studied elementary ed. I was going to be a school teacher. Wow, which is really funny.
How did I miss these? I did not know
I
that.
homeschooled the twins for their first year,
Wow.
and I suck at being a teacher. So turns out I never was supposed to be a teacher ever. But
At
I
least they were
think
both in the same grade.
exactly,
Right?
and well,
With
you
friends
can't
that are
really,
homeschooling
you
their
can't
kids.
mess up kindergarten. I was convinced like your kids will pretty much know
That's
what they
so
need
true.
to know when they're going to kindergarten.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm going to try it for kindergarten. So I have mad respect for, first of all, for teachers. They're the heroes of the world. But second of all, for anybody who homeschools, because I think it's a calling, and I don't necessarily think it's for everyone. But if
We've
it is
talked
for
a
you,
lot
I
about
think
that.
it's incredible and amazing, and you should definitely do it. But yeah, all that to say, I wasn't planning on doing music for a living.
Yeah.
Also, when I got started, it was pre-American Idol and The Voice, and you know, 8-year-olds didn't watch people getting on a talent show and winning, and then all of a sudden they could
Like
just
YouTube
be
wasn't a channel for doing this.
No,
It wasn't.
it
like,
wasn't. Like it was different. It was so different. And so you know,
what was the spark that kind of went like? Meh.
So I always knew, I think, and it's funny because to this day, though I love music and I love to sing and I love to create, I don't really still view myself as like an artist. I view myself as a truth teller, and I just use music as one of the ways to do that. Because I've always felt like, even when I was younger, one of the things that I felt was a unique gift to what I do is that I communicate. So it's not just singing.
Yeah.
It's like I might talk as much as I sing during a show.
Yeah, sure.
Which is good for some and terrible for others. Like, we should just shut up and sing some song.
But you're like, so is my show.
I think the percentage of people like that are very
Well, I just really feel like that was always kind of a thing that set me apart.
Yeah.
So I
like the gifting beyond the calling, just like uncovering all those layers and going, okay,
exactly.
God, like, was that a process to figuring that out?
It was, because and especially just the entire creative process, because so I did music through college, and I was involved in my church all the way through. Then I lived at college, but it was only 30 minutes from my parents, so it wasn't like I went far away.
Yeah.
Right.
And I really developed, like, you know, I traveled with a group in college, and it was like, oh, okay, I love this. Like, I realized that you have to kind of be a gypsy at heart to do what we do and live out of a suitcase.
Yeah.
You can be a creative and be somebody that's just a studio person, which is more my husband. He actually hates the road.
Sure.
But I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I come to life actually traveling and going somewhere new and seeing people. The studio for me is not, it's like I have to just put up with it.
Because there's no one to communicate with yet.
Exactly.
You're like, when can I share this with my people?
Yes.
I get
That's why we
that.
get along so well.
Yeah.
You have to be the kind of person that gets excited when there's toilet paper in the bathroom.
No,
You know, it's like,
exactly.
this is
This
amazing.
is incredible. This is
I
absolutely amazing.
think Natalie's green room is like a little bit different than our green rooms, though,
well,
to be fair.
God, that's just because I've got amazing
No, I just
sweet
feel like
people
life
that
on the
set them
road,
up.
you know, lower expectations.
Exactly. Well, you
Yeah.
know, it is. And I think, so when I was in college, there was this group. So some people watching will have heard of them, but many people now haven't, because they've been kind of finished for a while. But back in the day, there was a group called Truth. And they'd been around for like 30 or 35 years.
Wow.
And they would rotate members. So it was kind of like...
Okay.
for lack of a better, it's like a glorified college group, but it's
Sure.
like it's still a professional group. We like made records, and you traveled around. We did 335 concerts a year. Like we got Christmas off. We lived on a bus.
Okay, wow.
We got paid $50 a week.
Wow.
Like I had to like stash money away to like be able to buy deodorant. You know what I mean? So
But
it was
you were
like boot
living
camp.
the life, right?
It was like boot camp, but it was the
sure.
best. Because during that time, like it had started a ton of people's careers back in the way back in the 80s, Christian music, like For Him and Avalon and
Like Brent
for a while.
Russ Lee. Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, he
was.
talked to us
Yeah,
about
he
that.
was.
That's right.
Yeah, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But as much as it was like this really difficult and almost hard experience when I look back on it, it's funny because I do think sometimes that's what's missing for some artists that start today, because that training ground, which made me, I mean, I had to clean the bus with a toothbrush and a thing of soft scrub. And we didn't have crew. Like the guys set up all their own stuff. We wrapped wires. So it made me have this appreciation for every member of my team.
This is good. Yep.
That you're not entitled to something. Like, and sometimes I see young artists and I have to hold my tongue because I just want to go, what makes you think that you're entitled to somebody doing those things for you?
Yeah.
Like, I think still to this day, like in April, it will be, sorry, I don't know when this is airing, so I shouldn't give a date.
Oh, no, it's good. It'll come out in a couple weeks, yeah.
So in April, I'll celebrate 20 years since my first record came out, which is really crazy. Cheers.
Cheers to
I'm still here.
Oh, my goodness.
Thank you, Lord.
Yes.
But I think maybe part of it, because a lot of times people will be like, they ask about that longevity, you know, and a lot of people I started with, they don't even do it anymore, you know?
I'm sure.
In fact, I'd say 95% of the people I started with don't do it anymore. Part of it is... you know, maybe just because I refuse to quit, I'm bullheaded. But the other thing I think too is I've never lost the wonder. I really haven't. It doesn't mean that you don't get tired and you complain. I'm not trying to paint like this is this perfect environment, but I've never lost the wonder that I get to do. Like I get to do what I would do for a hobby. Like I get to go out and do for a living and a profession what most people dream of doing, and most people have to go to a job they hate. Yeah. And I don't. And even if it's at this level or it's at this level, I've never lost the wonder that you get to do it, you know? Yeah. Yeah. And then I think I've never lost the reality that I actually have the easiest job to everybody else on my team. Like the person who has to haul those merch boxes out of the truck and set them up and get up at 7 a.m. in order to do it, and then they go to bed at 1 a.m. Like that's a hard job. I have somebody that puts snacks in my dressing room, and you know what I mean? It's like, it wasn't always like that, but now it is, and you go, okay, don't ever lose perspective that you actually, you have a really privileged, beautiful job.
And you've done all those jobs. So I think that's partly
I used to do my own merch. I used to set up my own merch.
Girl.
Carry my own little money bag.
Follow your rider, you're just like...
We're still
so
blown
grateful.
away.
So grateful. There's actually, like, they read it. It's not just...
Those are the right
Yes.
ones.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can live on rice cakes and almond butter. Like, it's in the dressing room. Yes.
You can. You
No,
know.
but I feel like that's key. I feel like you see people because you appreciate it, the road that you've done. And I feel like, too, you know the why. You know why you do it.
Yes.
And I feel like beyond Holy Spirit and all of those things, the wonder I feel like that you're talking about, I just see it like all over you, is just because you know you're a truth teller. So you're confidently walking in that calling. And so, you don't lose the wonder because you're in awe of the fact that like it's way beyond the song. Yeah. It's beyond the 7 Grammy noms and the like award shows and all that stuff. Yeah. I feel like sometimes we get lost in the weeds to discovering the why, because that actually takes time. And if we're not gonna allow it to take time, because you can't rush that, and it's trial and error sometimes. I know for us it's been playing to 5 people and going, okay, where is this life coming from, and what do I still want to say? And like, you know, when you're in an arena, it's just like the first time we did Winter Jam, it was like a sea of people, and I forgot, and I don't even know if I knew the why clear enough yet. Right. And I just saw a sea of people. I forgot how to see people for a while afterwards. Absolutely. But it's all of those, like, it's the grind of going, okay, God, like I just want to live in a harvest season all the time. Why can't I?
Yeah, don't we all?
Yeah, but I feel like you found the why and the calling and the confidence to walk it out, and I feel like that's gonna like already I'm just like, okay, we're done, because so many, like we just did a Q&A episode, and honestly like 60 to 70% of the questions, not just for musicians, but we're finding the why, like just going, how do I get started, or how do I find joy in this, or how do I still have love for my job or my kids or my husband. And so much of it is just getting to the root of all that stuff.
Absolutely. Well, and I think just really tethering your identity to Christ, that sounds like such a super spiritual thing to say, and it sounds like an easy thing to say. It's not an easy thing to do, actually, especially in a creative field, because I've really learned through the years of doing this that being creative in a public setting is truly one of the most exposing and scary. It's terrifying, because you're actually, art is completely subjective. So even Christian art, even if you say Jesus 100 times in your song, or you don't, it's like some people want you to say Jesus 100 times, and some people would rather you didn't, and some people will think it's too. So you have to
sometimes
really.
Sometimes those are the same people.
Exactly. It's like, what are you? And I think that part of it, where if you're always chasing after a hit, or you're chasing after, and the thing is I have. So I can't sit here and say that I've always done it well. I haven't. I actually have chased after, especially in the beginning. Guys, my first record came out in 1999, and I'm pretty sure the 27 members of my family are the only ones who bought it, And now with Spotify, it's like actually on there, and you're like, could you please just erase that? Like, I don't want people to know about that one. And the second record, and the third record, and my third record, I was on my third record deal. So this has not been something that just I came out and it was this easy road. It wasn't. It was a really difficult road, and it was a striving road, and it was a why isn't this working, and why aren't my songs getting played on the radio, and why are their songs getting, and you find yourself getting eaten alive inside by envy and by striving and by this desire that actually to me is far grosser, for lack of a better word, in the Christian music field than it is in the mainstream world. Because in mainstream music, there's no hiding what you're trying to do. There's no masking it. It's out in the open. I'm out here. I'm trying to get my song out. I'm trying to make a name for myself.
It's very honest.
It's very, very, it's transparent. There's no hiding. When you got Jesus to hide behind, it's actually, I think it's a little bit more despicable. And I think that I had to come to that place in myself, because I'm not pointing the finger at other people doing that. I did that.
Yeah, sure.
And I had to come to that like really honest, gross place in myself where it was like, okay, I can completely lose myself because I'm chasing something that he never asked me to chase and that he never called me to chase, or I can chase him. And actually, it chokes me up when I think about it, because the more you chase him, the more you realize that it's a lifelong run, and it's not a frustrating thing to feel like you're chasing after him and you're chasing after him. It's actually such a beautiful journey, that even now I go, okay, well, it might have taken till 2005, so 6 years before I even really had a real song on the radio. But by that point, it was like, okay, now I get it. I'm chasing after him, and it might look, and my run is going to look different than yours. That's the thing. All of our races will look different because they're tailor-made for us. Yeah. But the beauty that's found in that, the chase, after the Lord and after the things that He has for our life, there's such a rest, a true soul rest that comes in that. It doesn't mean that the striving goes away. Yeah. Because it doesn't. It just makes it easier to keep under control.
Oh. Well,
that's amazing. I feel like
Chris and I are like, taking notes on the side. Like, did you write that down? Okay, we're recording. We can go back. No, that's just, man, that's really speaking to my soul. We've had a challenging, when is it not a little bit challenging? But there's like on 10 challenging,
Yeah.
and then there's years of like on 1 or 2 challenging,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because there's always a wrestle, and there's always
Yeah.
a tension. And honestly, I think I've come to know that I love the tension.
Mm-hmm.
I love the mystery that comes with
Yes.
the tension of following Jesus and then making decisions.
Yes.
And trying to take a step and then he takes a step. Like, it's never a dull moment.
Right.
But how do you balance that? I think I've watched your team in motion, so I feel like your team is a big part of it. But when you are striving after something he's put in your heart to do, so you're right, it's not bad, but you can cross that line.
Yeah.
Where it goes from like a healthy working hard and like kind of hand in hand to where you can feel like you're like ahead of where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
How do you deal with that, and how do you identify it?
Well, it's funny because I think part of that is having a great team around you, having a great spouse that speaks the truth to you. You know?
True. Yeah.
And I have that with Bernie. The problem comes when we're both in a place where we're kind of striving and working, and and then it's kind of hard to hold each other accountable because you're actually in the same
You're both in that
moment.
spot.
I think that's why also having a spiritual community around you is really important, of people who will keep you accountable and be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I think too, checking your own spirit, because like for me, I think that there's a difference between that striving for personal recognition and approval, and that pursuit of what God has called you to do, and you will not be denied.
That's a
I
great
actually
way
think
to
that's
put
okay.
it. That's a great way
that
to put
part
it.
of it I'm fully comfortable with. I'm
Yep.
fully comfortable with saying I'm not going to be denied because I know what God has called me to, and I'm going to do it, and it might take a while for it to come to fruition in the way that I feel like because I think that we measure success in a different way than he does.
Yes.
It's just our flesh nature, and I don't know that I'll ever fully have that under control. But realizing like, okay, he's measuring success, and I feel like he's, I've got his approval on what I'm doing. I think that I would never be denied. It's one of the reasons I'm still doing it.
Yeah. That's kind of why I wanted to ask. I'm sure you've been in that spot. But that's such a great way to define it. That helps me a lot.
Yeah. Where it's like, okay, I'm not striving for, and that is a personal checkpoint. Do you know what I mean? Because, I can fake it with the best of them.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you
Yes.
can make anything look and sound really, really commendable.
Sure.
Only you actually can answer before God, like check yourself.
Yeah.
Nobody else can really, even spiritual accountability, we're only really seeing what you're showing.
Yeah.
So unless you've got people who are so in tune with the Holy Spirit, which we go to the same church, and there are those that will actually kind of call you out.
Yeah.
But you actually have to have them in your world to be able to do that.
Because we do kind of live in our own islands sometimes, especially when you're touring as many dates a year as you tour.
Totally.
We realized that our first 2 years was straight on the road. And we came off the road, and we didn't even know we were unbalanced and unhealthy, and we hadn't had a chance to find a church. We played every Sunday.
Yes.
And you're like, if we're not careful, we could just sort of like slowly get really off course here because we don't have that community built in yet.
Totally.
So I resonate with that for sure.
Well, and I think for you guys too, it's so different because you're in it together. I mean, my husband and I are, but we're not at the same way that you two are, because your entire thing is intertwined. And I imagine that is both beautiful and terrifying and awesome and frustrating, and like it's all of it.
All of the things.
All of the things, But I think that for you two, it's that constant communication of, okay, where are we at? Why are we doing this? What does this mean for our family's future? Like, what does this look like?
Yeah.
And I've always just said, I want my girls, and because I now understand, you don't even really understand it when they're this young.
Yeah.
You don't. Like, just now my twins are about to be 12, and just now I'm starting to really grasp, oh, wait, they're not an add-on to my calling. They are my calling.
Yeah.
Like, these other things I'm doing are super important, and I feel called to them, and there's a grace on my life to do it. But if that grace lifted, then I I would quit and just be full-time with them. But I've never felt that grace lift. I really feel still called to do what I do, and a grace on our family for me to do it.
Yeah.
But I have tried really intentionally to invite my kids along. That doesn't mean bringing them on the bus or not.
Yeah, sure.
It means involving them and teaching them how to pray for what I'm doing, teaching them how to like really intercede. Like when we go out and do these conferences, they'll be like, how many people found Jesus last night? And they feel now like because they blessed me to go, they were a part of that. Like they were a part of what was accomplished.
Yeah.
And I think that's super, super important. And we'll need to be intentional on your guys' part too as your boys grow.
Yeah.
They're so young now.
Yeah.
Now
They're
it's just the busy
so
work.
young.
They're like sitting in the
busy
guitar
work.
cases, and
Yeah,
it is. Yeah,
it's
you're
the
right.
busy and fun and cute, but just more just like lack of sleep and busy work.
Yeah.
I have lack of sleep now for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
It's like laying awake at night going, oh God, please tell me I'm doing the right thing. Like
Right.
help me know,
Yes.
you know, how to steer them in this right way.
That is funny. Like it used to be stop for your music, now it's stop for your posts.
Right.
And
yeah.
like the look into your life, that is because you're so consistent. I think that consistency only shows over time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I think that's
Kind of its definition, isn't it?
yeah, I guess so.
You know what's really funny
Thanks,
is
You probably know it word for word from the dictionary. What is it? What is
Yeah.
consistency?
No, I'm.
You're just laughing at me.
That's good though. It's funny because I do think that one of the keys to longevity is that they see who you really are. And you know, it's funny because I was not always like that. I really had a pressure on myself as a Christian artist when I first started that I had to be really spiritual. Like I had to have the right answer.
Yeah. And
I had to have, I had the same scriptures memorized. And I think I used them for like 5 years. You know what I mean? And then you're like, well, wait, people coming back. That's when I realized this is a shtick.
Yeah.
This is now a shtick. Like this is a learned thing. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't prepare your show. You should.
Sure.
But it's become a learned thing that I'm actually drawing from all the same scriptures. And that's because I actually haven't allowed God to speak anything new to me.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize it has to start with you. And I don't feel like he's always teaching me something. I wish I did.
Yeah.
I wish I did. I don't always. But then say that.
Right.
But then say that.
Yeah,
like
sure.
I'm so
to teach
that
them.
will speak so much to somebody to go.
Like I don't always feel like there's something new, and I don't like right now, guys. I've been supposed to be making a new record for the last 6 months, maybe. And I am so creatively dry. I have never had a block like I have right now. Never in my life. I think part of it is that my last record was my 10th record. I think it was my 10th record. And at this point, it's kind of like I'm not expecting some big breakout record. It's just like kind of a consistent, you know, hopefully it's going to do well. And it's going to get played on radio. And I've got long-standing relationships at radio, so they've been really kind to me. Most of the time, I'm just shocked I'm still invited to the party because, you know, I've been doing it a long time. And as a woman... Sorry.
Yeah.
It's a totally different situation for a woman in every genre.
This is a safe place.
Yeah, it's a totally different thing for a woman.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I'm like, oh, the fact that I'm just still invited after 20 years, thank you. But I think what happened is, one, the record was more successful than I thought it was going to be. I'm grateful. But sometimes the only thing scarier than a record that wasn't successful is actually a record that was.
Right.
Because you have to follow, like... I didn't know King of the World would, like, that's now become my longest running number one that I've ever had. I'm like, wait, was it Held or In Better Hands or songs that, like, broke my career? And then King of the World, like, surpassed that. And if you would have asked me beforehand, I would never have guessed that it would have connected in that way. Timing, I guess. You know, and what was happening in the world. So it maybe just became... like something people were holding on to at a really unique time in our culture. But I wasn't expecting it. But then I got cancer, and it was this like really traumatic and scary and incredible. And I mean, what God has done through that and the healing he did in my body, but more than that, the just kind of thing he did in my life spiritually, all of those things, incredible. But then people say things like, the greatest songs of your life are going to come out of this. Like, oh, can you imagine, girl, he's preserved your voice. It's now going to be, you're going to sing the songs like you've never sung them before. And you're like, how do I live up to that? You know?
That's probably true. I've never gone through this before. So.
Right. It's like, so I think for me, it's actually been a real, it's been interesting because at first I was like, yes, absolutely. And then I would go to write and I can't get anything out. And it's been like this for months now where I have this complete creative block. And I think it's just because I'm scared and, you know, but so I think instead of trying to pretend, it's like, oh no, I'm actually just in a creative dry spell. And I know that I'll come out of it. But I think somebody will be like, well, how? And I'm like, well, I'm just now getting to the place where I'm like, okay, we wrote with somebody last week. And I left the session halfway through.
Right.
I did. I was like, it's awesome. And I believe you're going to come up with something really special. And I can't wait to see what it is. But I have to go now.
Yeah.
And then just being okay to be vulnerable and fragile and be like, I'm just not ready. And it's going to come. I know it will at some point. But just gotta be okay with not being okay for a little while.
As a fellow artist, I love that. That honesty is just...
Yay.
Yeah.
I'm not alone.
There are days where
right?
you wake up and I'm like, I'm supposed to know what I want to say. I'm supposed to know what we're going to play, and then...
You don't.
And then you don't.
You just don't. And you're like, I want to have something really great to offer, but maybe the great that we have to offer in that moment is that we don't know.
Yeah.
And then somebody else is like, oh, thank God I'm not the only one.
Yes.
Right? So,
well, and it's like you really can't. I have tried so many times to skip the process and just skip ahead.
Yeah.
You know, and neither of us has walked through what you walked through with cancer, but Chris's mom has, and we walked with her and canceled a year's worth of shows, which was the album that we put the money into to make the album. And it felt like the end of all the dreams. And I mean, you didn't talk even hardly to me for a good year because you were just so in that place and not ready to move from that place. And that was a huge thing. We'd been married 7 years. She died on our anniversary. And so we had to sit there together for a good while, and we couldn't play a show. We couldn't write a song. We couldn't do a thing. We didn't know if we ever would. But you're right. It's just, and I'm not trying to equate them because they're really different journeys.
But it's still a place it's a broken place. And then there is a resolve, even if it's an answer you didn't want. There is a resolve. It's funny because I heard this Tim Keller quote, which I really love because I actually struggle sometimes in telling the story of how, about my journey and how, you know, yes, they got the cancer out. It wasn't a terminal kind of cancer. It was a curable cancer, but it was the fact that where the tumor was in my thyroid, it was pressing on my vocal nerves, so they thought I would never sing the same way again. Wow. And they were right. My voice came back stronger, like more accurate and more precise. It's weird because it wasn't supposed to.
Oh, that gives me
like
it did.
It did. It's just like it's like they went in there and scraped something out. I don't know. They went in there, cleaned it up. I don't know what they did, but it actually came back stronger. But the miracle that was a really beautiful gift that God gave, but it wasn't the miracle. The miracle was that He actually brought me to a place where I had to come to terms with the fact that my outcome didn't determine His goodness. That He was good if He didn't. I had to come to the place before I found out that He was going to answer and really give me this amazing like miracle and blessing and gift, and that I could keep going. It was coming. The miracle, I feel like, was what He did in the process. That was the actual miracle. Bringing me to a complete place of dependence, a place of peace that doesn't make sense. You think you know that because it sounds like a really great scripture. You don't know it until you're in the middle of something. And you go, I'm angry and I'm frustrated and I don't understand anything, but yet I still have this strange underlying peace that I can't explain. That's the peace that passes understanding, you know? Those are the miracles to me. And this Tim Keller quote was, you know, God always answers prayer. He answers it in the way we would have asked Him to answer it if we only knew what He knows.
Wow.
And that like took me a second to digest it. Like, okay, he always answers prayer. He answers it in the way that we would have asked him to answer it if we only know what he knows. And that helped me because it was hard at first to even sit in front of people and go, yay, praise God for the marriage. He like my voice is strong, my cancer is gone. And there's, 15% of the people that haven't gotten a miracle. Their marriage is still going to end in divorce. Their child is still going to die. They're like, you know what I mean? And you try to make sense of it and you can't, because in our finite minds, we can't. But you still go, okay, but he's still going to answer it. And someday he'll open up our minds to understand the why behind all of it. But the point is that bring us to a place where we understand that our outcome, no matter what the situation, doesn't determine your goodness. You're still good and you're still kind and you're still faithful, even when I don't see it tangibly,
And he's not afraid of questions.
He's not. Actually, he can completely handle it.
You only know what you know, so keep asking questions.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing is that I think that idea that we can't get angry and yell and then those people haven't read the Psalms.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? When Christ himself could ask the Father why he'd forsaken him, when that moment of seeing his human frailty was not for his sake, it was for ours.
Yeah.
It was for our sake, so we could go, oh, him being fully God and fully human had a moment where he felt forsaken by God, but then still came to a place where it was like, okay, it doesn't matter how I feel, because you're not determined by my feelings, that you're still true. That's where faith, you just accept it by faith or you don't. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, by faith, I choose to believe it. Yeah. I don't feel it. Yeah. I don't feel God's faithfulness all the time. I don't feel his goodness all the time. Yeah. I don't feel his nearness all the time, but by faith, he is near. He is faithful and he is kind, but I always am reminded that, a man after God's own heart constantly screamed out, why have you forsaken me? Yeah. Why have you forgotten about me? Why do you prosper other people and not me? Yeah. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, he was still a man after God's own heart, so I'm in good company.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
We've softened up that image of, of Jesus and his passion and the cross and all that. And it's like, I don't think he really wanted to do that. Right. It was his choice.
Right.
He made a choice.
He made a choice. I don't think it was his, like at the top of his list of, let's go ahead and do it like this. Because surely there's another way. Yeah. And I think that, boy, we're like just covering so many different things. But I think for me, it's a little bit, I know, come on. I think for me, a little bit of it too is, and this is kind of sometimes what I'm challenging myself with, even in the song process, is I'm not looking for big songs that are like, God is righteous and holy and has a righteous anger. I'm not really going to write that into a song anytime soon. Right. But at the same time, I think we've softened him even in our music and our worship. It's not that he isn't like our daddy God, because he is. It's not that he isn't wonderful and sweet, but he also still is righteous and he's still holy and he's still, like, I think sometimes
it was like
we bring him down. We bring him down to this, like, oh, he's like my buddy. Yeah. He's like my little buddy that I like tuck in my pocket and like take along with me everywhere I go. Oh, Jesus, I love you so much. And like, it's like almost like this sweet, like, and I don't know, I just sometimes think, no, actually, there's still like this,
like maybe one aspect.
It's a beautiful part that he offers to us, but there's still a holiness of God that I think sometimes we lose sight of. I think that's one of the reasons I loved King of the World, because there's that line that says, how could I make you so small? And it's, yes, he comes down to our level, but I don't ever want to forget the greatness of who he is, and that he's still a holy God, and he calls us to holy and righteous living, And
I feel like when you allow yourself and your life, and when things just happen in your life that are big to go through, you need a big God. You need him to be. You need that aspect to be there, to go, and I'm not just believing this promise, I'm walking this promise out right now. That used to be so confusing to me in church when it was like, hold on to the promises. Well, I was like, great, like I am, but I'm here and
Yes.
I'm walking this right now, and I want to believe the promise is true. I feel like I have to walk to that promise to get there and hold it for dear life.
Yeah.
Like writing He Is With Us, which we haven't written that many songs that people know, but I always want to encourage, like, that was a question mark.
Yes.
It was not the promise. It was the question mark.
Should be a question mark. He is with us.
Yeah, He is with
That's
us.
what it was.
Right?
We were living in Argetta, going through like hell and going, nothing is working.
No.
Not one single thing is working. Actually, like the reverse.
Yes.
So like, I don't know if I got this right or wrong. Oh, wait. But you've been walking with, okay, but wait. Like, I hear your voice still. Okay, but wait. Like,
Yes.
And then you're like, you come and you go, okay, now that promise is mine.
Yes.
And now I can stand on this promise and sing this promise with conviction and go, guess what? I got here through going through this. Like,
so good.
So if you're more asking the question, just ask the question.
So
like,
good.
And I feel like everything you're saying, like, oh, man, there's just this, it's like you're in this like sweet, hard, I can't imagine. I just have had little moments, but where it's this almost like spot with the Lord where He's big and intimate and small, but all of these things, and you're seeing Him in a new way from what you've gone through.
Totally.
And not really ready to share it with everybody yet. It's
right.
Like,
It's like, wait a second.
like, I'm just
still
going to be here for a while.
Still processing.
But the world's like, but we need all this. It's like, cool. Like, we'll get there.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think, too, like, when you realize that you just can't, there comes a point, I think there just comes a point in everybody's life, and it's a different point for everybody, because it's just not, there's not a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
There's no cookie cutter faith. I mean, yes, there's only one way to God, and His name is Jesus. We got that. Okay, we're clear on that.
Yeah.
And we need to be clear on that, because that's actually getting called into question in our culture at the moment.
Yeah.
There's like just a whole lot of interesting things happening, but there's no cookie cutter way that your faith's going to play out. It's just that is actually an individual, unique thing between you and God. That's why He tells you to work out your own salvation.
Yeah.
But I just kind of feel like you get to this place where you realize that He really is all the things. There's not one aspect.
Right.
He kind of is all the things, and He's the things that you need in the moment that you need Him. You have to, it's not a magic potion though.
Yeah.
Like my youngest daughter is just turned 8, and she's got a really spicy personality, like her mother, and she like speaks before, like my husband will say, if you want to know what Natalie's thinking, just wait 30 seconds and she'll tell you. Like, you know what I mean? I often speak first and think later.
I don't relate to that at all. No.
And that is Sadie. She's so like that. And just the other night, I was talking to her about how, it's one thing to have this beautiful, large personality that actually is God-given, but you have to rein it in, because you can't, it can turn to be bossy and know-it-all. And, and she goes like, I know. It's just that I've asked God to fix it, and He hasn't yet. And it's like, you know what? That's exactly what a lot of adults are saying. I've asked God to fix it, and He hasn't yet. That's because He's not a genie. Like, He's not a genie in a bottle that you're like, okay, I'm going to rub the lamp, and He's going to come out and give me my 3 wishes.
Yeah.
It's like, no, He's actually already done everything that we need Him to do. We don't have to do anything to gain our salvation, but there's a whole lot of responsibility on us, actually, when it comes to working out our salvation.
Absolutely.
There's a whole lot. You actually have to walk it out. My husband said to her just last night, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to take that. He goes, God never said He'll walk for you. He said He'll walk with you. And that he's like, you're asking God to walk for you. You're asking Him to do all the things for you.
That's good.
He never said He'll do it for you. He said He'll do it with you.
I think that's big, and I don't know anything about raising kids yet, because I'm really in diapers. We just potty trained. I'm like, praise the Lord, He pooped on the potty this morning. That's where I'm
actually
at.
A big thing at 3.
It was. We celebrated pretty big this morning.
We
really did.
We
were almost late for the podcast because we were dancing.
Let's be honest, the pee happens way faster than the poop. You don't pee in the toilet, but then the poop is like.
And you're trying to be so strong and directive, but you're like, God, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't.
You could see
like, I grew balls, and now I have 2 boys, and I don't know what to do.
Yes, I'm not carrying this with me. Yes, he literally lessened his load. He lessened his load.
Oh my goodness. But it's. I don't even know what I was going to say. But I know what I was going to say. What you're saying is so true, because I think in such an instantaneous society of going, like, I want that.
Yeah.
How do I get that? And like, I'm just going to post this thing, and surely that's the way to get famous, right? And I want to be famous. I don't really know why. I just want to be. And like, it's really amazing that you've brought your girls along and that you're a female doing all the things at the same time. But we need to see you do it, and like really, and to be so vulnerable about it, because there's not a lot of women doing what you're doing, and
it's really difficult.
And
right?
like balancing, like I'm sure we all do. Like I have boys, so I always thought I was gonna need to have like the period conversations and the body image. And I may still need the body image. I don't really know. I've never raised boys, but just I think about it because Milo knows when I put on my red lipstick, he goes, "You going to sing, Mama?" Oh, like he's not even 3. Like
no, but he gets it.
He gets
I think that we should have the period conversations. It'll make life a lot easier.
He will. He will understand.
And he'll understand why I'm moody. He's like, "Oh, Mom, what's with Mama?" Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I get it.
But anyway, just like I can't imagine you 3 girls watching you put your makeup on, watching you deal with. It never goes away.
No, it doesn't, and it starts so young for girls now.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I shelter my girls, I really do.
That's
like,
probably
they don't have like social media yet, but they see mine.
Yeah.
And that thing that everybody says to you, you realize, wait, things become cliches because they're true. Like they don't become cliches because they're not true. They become cliches because they're true. Like how fast it all goes. You don't feel it now, but oh my gosh, you're gonna wake up and go, how are my kids gonna be 12? Like I just had them in car seat strollers and we're carrying them onto the plane, and like how.
Yes.
But you realize it really does go fast. But then you also realize they really are watching everything that you do. Like,
oh man,
good, bad, ugly, and otherwise, and they learn.
Right.
They learn from you, and I'm like, oh, there's certain things that come out that I'm like, no, don't learn that. That's not the good stuff. That's not the good stuff I'm trying to teach you. They actually learn more from the things that you're not trying to teach them.
Sure.
They actually learn more from just what they're observing, and it's a constant mirror because I see me coming back at me in really unfortunate ways. But this like. Things that I would say about like, oh, I don't even notice I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to somebody from my management company or something about when I'm getting fitted for a dress. And I'm like, oh, and I just don't like the way it's making this look, or oh, I don't like the way.
And it's just
like, no, it's not. And
your girls are like,
they're watching it and they're like, thinking, oh, and so in 4th grade, one of the twins got bullied. And it's really interesting how I don't like giving too much credit to the devil. Like I really don't. At the same time, I want to recognize that he has a scheme and that he's got a scheme for all of humanity, and that is to make sure that they never understand their identity in Christ. And that if he can completely disrupt that, then they'll never be at a place of peace. And so I watched that in somebody that really spoke, and it's amazing how cruel kids can be, and you'll start to learn that. And you'll also understand that you might go to jail, because I was about to punch a 4th grader. Yeah. I was like, you know what, arrest me, because my claws came out, But like, this kid was like calling Gracie fat, and she was telling her that she was ugly, and then it went further, and she was like, if I was Gracie, I would kill myself. And Gracie was in 4th grade, right? And she came home and said, so she never heard of suicide at that point. So she comes home at 9 years of age and goes, wait, so somebody thinks it would be so bad to be me that they would end their life? And I was like, oh no, devil. Like I see your scheme, but you know what? We have to work to root out that seed constantly now, because that seed was planted when she was 9 years old, and you're like, okay, this is like sometimes a daily thing of planting a different seed. And
then all the seeds you've planted in private so that you could be the best mom you could be comes out, and you're like, thank the Lord I have a foundation.
Yes.
Because like,
yes, thank you, God.
Oh my goodness. Like, what else do you rely on in that moment? You've never been there before.
No, it's like
you don't have like, let me just
parenting is not for the faint of heart.
Oh, Natalie, I can't even like, I don't even know how. Like,
I literally was like, I will. But we got a kid out of school, so I was like, wow. I try to teach my kids to have grace, but then it comes to a point where you're like, no, actually, I'm going to root that out. That doesn't get to have any kind of voice.
I remember hearing that one time, and I was a teenager, and I think it was a woman in our church, and I was sharing something about something I was going through, and she said, Jody, it's not enough to call something a lie. You have to replace it with the truth. And you have to keep replacing it with the truth.
Good.
And
so good.
I never forgot that, because I was like, I'm always like, lies are just coming at
Yeah,
you.
I say that all the time. The only way to replace the lie is with the truth.
Yeah.
Like there, literally where Gracie sleeps, there's scriptures that talk about her identity right next to her head, and I make her read them every night when she goes to bed.
Yeah.
Because I still do that.
Yeah.
I like people often like, well, how do you encourage yourself in the Lord? I'm like, I pray scripture over my life. I read scripture over my life, and I don't always believe it. And sometimes I'm rolling my eyes, and sometimes I'm like, ugh, is this stuff even true? I mean, if we can't be honest about that, you know what I mean? Like, listen,
man.
I still have doubts. Sometimes I literally am like,
Yeah.
are we gonna die and wake up and realize that this entire thing was made up?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it true? And then you come back to the place of, nope, by faith, I choose to believe it's true. Because he's proven himself to me too many times.
Yeah.
And I always come back to the truth and choosing to believe the truth and remembering that he makes himself real to me at times when I even least expect it.
Yeah.
But then doesn't mean that sometimes I'm not like,
Yeah.
is this whole thing? Is
Yeah.
like an incredible fairy tale? Like, you know what I mean? Because he doesn't choose to show himself to us physically.
Yeah.
So,
You know, in certain moments of clarity, you realize his grace is that he can't show us everything because our heads would explode.
yeah, exactly. We couldn't take it. We couldn't in our finite, broken condition. We couldn't take it.
You know what I think is a hard road to walk, and I know you've walked it because I've heard you talk before your songs about what certain songs are written about. We are walking with family that is questioning to a point that it's just really real for them, the place that they're in of going, I don't know about all this. And when you're really loving someone and not trying to just get them, I used to listen to people with an answer ready to give, to be like I wasn't really listening,
Right.
And even I wasn't really loving because I wanted the conversation to go here.
Yeah.
You know, that felt safer to me. But then when family goes through questions and hard stuff and you're actually trying to love them in those places, you go to those places with them, even when it involves a crisis of faith. And so for us lately, it's been more of those questions than usual because you're actually trying to go there and love well. And in the loving well, giving a pat answer isn't loving well, but then you have to ask the questions too.
Yeah.
And so you're walking this line of going like, that's a great question. And I've actually never gone to that place before.
Yeah,
and it can just be hard.
It's really difficult because
hard.
you actually realize how much Christianese you have in you when it comes time for that a pat answer isn't going to work. And you know, it's funny because I mentioned just a little bit earlier how there really are some things in our culture. I think one of the most scary and dangerous things of our current generation is just the number of people that choose to walk away. And it's kind of like you see it it like in their college years, that age. It's like they've stayed and they've gone and they've had experiences and they go to youth group and then they get to this point and they're just like, I don't know. And then there's enough out there now that it's like, well, but is it really true? And maybe it's partly true, but it's not all true.
Right.
And what I've been fed this whole time, there's no absolute. You know, it's like, well, I don't think that's what he really. And I think that if you just look at the enemy from the very beginning, the number one question was, did God really say? Yeah. Did he really say that? Like, did he really, and did he mean that? And that's exactly what he did to Eve. It's exactly like, so from the beginning of time, that's been it. Like, did he really say? And I think that for me, we've got a couple of friends. One that's a really close working friend of Bernie's, who's just, you know, been this guy that's like followed Christ for a long time. And now in his like early 40s, he's like, I'm an atheist. I just don't. I just had to come to a place where I just don't believe. I just don't. And so instead of just always saying like, oh, we're praying for you, brother, you know, and having your scriptures. And we actually, it's been like about a year and a half now. And we've just started to kind of keep a log without him knowing of just what's happened in his life since that time.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And you can kind of like almost see this just train wreck of life. And it's not that like, I don't know that God's up there going, oh, you're going to say I'm not real? Watch what I can do. Bzz, you know what I mean? Like make your life suck from that point on. Yeah. But when you come out from under the covering, I think it's interesting to just watch. And I think sometimes when you can ask the Lord for the right time, and we've asked the Lord for that and we haven't felt it's the right time yet, to just say, we're going to ask you to take an honest look at your life. So since you've made that decision, has your life gotten better? And you know what? We want everything to be on a timeline, right? Like, okay, you've walked away from God, so in the next 3 months, we're going to walk, and it might be 3 years,
and
actually.
He may be working out his salvation.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that
Like,
we have this, like,
yeah.
this finite understanding, but
Yeah.
the truth is that you either believe the word of God is true or not, and it says that when they're old, they will not depart from it, right? And I think that we have this idea of well, when is that?
Yeah.
Well, that's between, like, you can't do the work of the Holy Spirit, and you can only try to follow the leading of the Lord when you're speaking to somebody, and it's so hard when you want someone to believe and you want them to see.
You want this outcome, and
yeah, and the more you try to, like, tell them the truth, the more you try to tell them the truth, I think that actually makes them run further.
Yeah.
Even, and then you're like, well, I'll just live it. But then you're like, well, how long does that take?
Yeah.
And so I do think that sometimes, though, that even without the person knowing, if you just kind of keep a little journal or something that you're like, okay, I'm just going to make a note of their life, I do actually think that you can look back over someone's life and kind of see there will start to become a pattern of something, and it's not always going to look the same, but a God-led life just looks different than one that isn't, and you can kind of pinpoint some things. I think sometimes that God will use that to take a blinder off of somebody.
I feel like that's a really tactical piece of advice for people walking that road, which is, I don't know that I've ever heard someone be able to talk to that so well, because you feel a bit helpless, because you're trying to love well,
right,
and not be preachy. You're trying to really just meet them where they're at, but yet you feel like,
but you don't want to condone
either.
But
But you're like, but I love God so much. How do I sit and not say anything? Like, it's really hard to know, I think that's a really, really great way to sort of feel like you're still processing it with them and in your own way. That's so good. Yeah. But speaking of processing, your hair. It's hair day.
It is hair day. There's a reason there is a beanie covering these roots.
I would have never guessed that because you do it so well.
Well,
but you need to get
soon
to your
discover
hair
with each passing year you have to use more and more bleach. So,
girl,
I'm not ashamed.
No.
I'm like,
hair
cover
changes
it
after
up.
babies.
I've been coloring my hair since 17, so I don't actually even know what my real hair color is. I don't. I do remember I started getting gray hair at like 25, and I was like, what is happening? I wasn't even married yet. It was just young. So now I have no idea how much gray hair and I don't ever want to know, actually.
You're like, I don't need to know.
There's no part of me that needs to know anything about that.
After I had babies, my hair changed, obviously.
Yeah, it does,
because I didn't
right?
know. No one told me. There's certain things like, there's certain things you don't hear until you're in that place.
Totally.
Anyways, whether it's hair or things about Jesus, whatever. Till you're in that place.
Till you're living it. You
don't.
Can't. It's like
I'm sure people told me about like the baby hairs and the things growing in that are different
like
bangs.
Yeah,
over here,
it's like why are there
what's happening?
There's bangs over here.
Like, but I
totally. But I get it.
Yeah, I had a few gray after Ziggy. I was like, okay,
what's happening?
What's going on? We don't need to talk about that. So, and then I chopped it off, and I had long hair forever. And now the bang thing, I'm dealing with like figuring it out. So I'm going on Thursday.
See, it's important.
Yeah,
I'm going today.
ladies.
And I'm so sorry that it's the reason I have to.
No, are you kidding me?
Out.
You gave us so much time. And I know that our husbands understand he's not left out because Chris books his next appointment at his appointment.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm not that organized.
No, me either.
I wait. Oh,
Bernie,
babe, can I quickly
say with
go?
Bernie.
He's
like, gotta go. No. Sorry.
Because our men have good hair.
Yeah,
and
they
actually
do.
have similar looks a little bit.
They do, actually. They just, it's the Canadian in them.
One day
sure
we'll have
of it.
Bernie on too with you, and we could do like the whole.
He's got so much incredible. Honestly,
If
Bernie's.
only we could cheer for the same football team.
I know. Had to get that in.
But who do you cheer for then when you're Canadian?
Well, and I know it's just going to be this thing that's this wedge. That's
if you say the Patriots,
no, it's not the Patriots. It's the Vikings.
Oh, you mean like the Vikings that the Seahawks beat? Oh, you mean like I get it now.
I'm just gonna be back here.
I'm pretty sure the Seahawks have kept them from the playoffs.
Several
times.
Yep.
So thanks for tuning into our podcast.
You know, it's funny.
So much fun.
It's funny because my sister and now I can't stop. My sister and her husband, who like lived in Seattle, like for their she's my older sister and they've lived there forever. He got transferred to Minneapolis, and so they're always going to the Vikings games in their Seahawks gear.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm not totally against the Vikings because Luke, my guitar player, is from Minneapolis.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So he's I'm only against them when we're playing each other.
Yeah.
But other than that, I'm always going to be NFC whatever the team is. Because that's just
Is that
who the Seahawks are.
Do they?
That's who
the
that's
leagues?
Yeah, the NFC is.
Okay.
There's two.
NFC and the AFC, and for me, it's basically anybody who's going to play the Patriots.
Basically,
That's what
NFC
whoever says. I'm like,
NFC
that
versus
doesn't help. I don't
Patriots.
understand
Anybody
anymore.
who's going to beat the Patriots, I'm for. But you guys, thank you for
man.
having me on. Thank you
Thanks
for what you're
for
doing
all
and
your time.
You know, it's funny because I know that you both probably still feel, even though you've been doing it for quite a bit, I actually know that feeling of still trying to find your place. You know,
Yeah.
and that finding like, okay, where do we belong? And what you guys have to offer is very different than what everybody else is doing. Like it really is. And that you do it together and that you do it well, and probably not always do it well, but that you do it together, I think is, a lot of people often ask me about how Bernie and I work together, because I mean, I hear women say all the time, I'd kill my husband if I worked with him. And I'm like, well, that's because the grace isn't on you to work with your husband.
Yeah.
But I think just the way that you're even doing this and living your life out loud in a way that lets other married couples even see, like, okay, there's not a perfect way to do it, but there is a way to have unity in what we do. There is actually a way for you to support her and what she pursues, and for you to support him and what he pursues, and that you can actually equally succeed, equally cheer each other on, and do it from a really genuine place. I think that that's one of the more beautiful things that you guys have to offer, that is like a unique God-given gift. So don't stop doing that.
Super sweet. Super
Beautiful.
encouraging. Let's go make out. I'm just kidding.
Okay, I gotta go home. No, I gotta go get my hair
I
done.
think if we both wanted to be the singer, that's probably where it would
Right?
Where it would
Yeah.
That would
Marrying
be
a
a
bass
struggle.
player. I'm
happy
Kind
to
of
be the bass
helps.
player.
Yeah, you're like, I'm okay. I'm okay being the
Yeah.
instrument, and
Well,
all
we
those
love
is
you.
that.
We
love
love
you guys
you, and we
too.
feel like the minute we met Charlotte Gamble
Yes!
in Minneapolis, when it was Jody King and her handsome husband Chris, and we were trying to figure out how to do this whole thing.
gosh.
That actually was probably one of the worst from just a technical perspective. We were so in the middle of courting a label and not knowing who we knew who we were, but we didn't know how to express it yet.
Totally.
And she saw us in the thick of that. And the piece of advice was, you need to go sit down with Natalie Grant and have a coffee. And
What?
that's why I hit you up, and that's how I found your number. So
That's
Charlotte,
amazing,
and I've never
Charlotte!
seen Charlotte since that day, but
Oh
I
my
literally, she was like a
gosh.
step toward this. And so I love how God does those things.
But he is an
You know.
orchestrator.
Yep.
He really is.
Yep. So if you're in the middle
It's in the
of
details.
if you're in the middle of your miracle, and I don't mean that to sound cheesy or anything, it's
Yeah.
just, we always are in process. So just, I hope you're encouraged. I'm like mega encouraged. And yeah, we just love you so much.
I love
Thanks
you
for
guys
doing
too.
this.
Thanks for
Thank
having
you.
me. Yay.
Give us the 5-star, because this is the bomb. I'm just kidding. But give us a good rating. And I'm just kidding. Share it. If it spoke to you, share it with your friends, that it would, speak life to them. That would be awesome, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We love you.